Alright, so I'm going to show you how I installed the roof rails on my Monte Carlo and how I've done them on a couple cars since then. It's a pretty popular mod you can do for the WBodies. Basically, first you got to start getting the roof rails. So these things, they go for like a couple $100 on most of the message forums, and the first pair I bought, that's what I paid for them, is like $200. I think that's the dumbest way you can do it. Best way to do it is just go to a junkyard and, hope you get lucky and you find a Grand Prix Special Edition, Daytona Edition, or the Anniversary Edition, because that's what these ones came on. The Anniversary Edition ones are purple, like that dark purple color, so usually you have to paint those. The other ones are black usually, so that makes that easy. The second set I bought, I got at a junkyard for $25. I was there for something else and saw the Special Edition Grand Prix there, so I was able to pull them off. So when you're pulling them off, just a couple things, I've always done is just shake them a little bit, see if there's a spot that's loose. Hopefully you get one of the ends to be loose. That's the easiest. And if you have that, it's a good place to start. You can get a screwdriver and just kind of jam it up under there. If like nothing's loose, start at the back end, because there's a lot more meat here than here and less risk of breaking something. So if you just shove your screwdriver, pry bar, whatever you're using, as far in as you can, and then just slowly lift up. You don't want to lift up too much, otherwise you'll warp them. And the first set I got were warped pretty badly. So when you're putting them down, if you're not going to do the method I'm going to talk about, they're very hard to hold in place, because it is a pretty hard, like firm plastic. It's not really bendable. So once you get them off the car, basically you just pry along. Pay attention up here, especially if it's coming off easy and then it gets hard here, because you can break them here. I've got a crack on the other side where I just went a little too fast. So just go slow. When you get it off, on the underside, just take all the crap off of it. There's like a two-sided tape. Once that's off, just alcohol on the bottom just to clean it up, and you can set it aside. So it's also a good time with these things, take something like Ultimate Compound or anything like that, just to get the scratches out of it. And you can do that by hand. It works pretty well. And then wax them, and then they're really ready to go on at that point. You can see these ones have a pretty good shine to them. So when you come to your car that you're going to put them on, you just got to get that little trim piece that's in the channel there out. So the way to do that is just get a screwdriver under it and just pull it out. People say they've saved them. I've never been able to. I've done a couple of these. They are like a thin metal, I think, encased in there. So once it gets a kink in it, it's bent, and good luck trying to straighten it out. So I just pull them out. Once you do that, the two-sided tape that holds that piece down will be in there. It's like almost like a foam core to it. Just get all that out. If you get a heat gun in there, that works best. Heat it up. Just scrape it all out with a screwdriver. When you think you got it all, go back, because there's always more in there, and I like to get it really clean. So once you've done that, basically the next step from there, you're just going to like clean it out with alcohol or whatever you want, just to make sure it's really clean. And then the key is, how I've put these on, is I've screwed them on. And that does involve drilling a bunch of holes in the roof, but I think it's worth it. I've done the epoxy, I've done two-sided tape, and I've also done windshield urethane. The guy recommended that to me. None of them have worked. The epoxy over time just hardens and they lift. The other two, again, they just lift, or if they are warped, you can't get a good seal on them. Like, I've tied ratchet straps around the car just to push them down as I was installing them, and it's just a pain. So screwing it in, I think, is the best way to do it. Done it on 2 cars now. Both have had no problems, no issue at all with leaks. And like, they are securely on there. You can see how much I can get that car to move, and there's no flex, there's no problem with these at all. So when you're drilling your holes, first thing I do, put the rail in there, just let it sit. You're going to see, like, there'll be high spots where it's just kind of naturally bent, and I start at the back, because at the back here you have a little lip on it, and you want to just line that lip up with the shielding here. Basically what I do then is just find a point where I push down on it. When I'm pushing down, I see like where it's sealing up nicely, and then I kind of just find that point where it seals nicely from this side all the way up, and it'll stop to another point here. So when you find that point, I just put a piece of tape there, then I keep holding that, come along here. It's obviously easier with 2 hands, you're not holding a camera. Push down here, and again, find that sealing point, put another piece of tape, do it again, and again, just all along. So where the tape is, that's where I'm going to drill my holes. Now, in order to drill your holes, you need access from the inside, so you're going to screw up into it. So in the car here, on your headrest, this is on a Monte Carlo, the other cars may be a little different. You got to get rid of this guy, and then there's 3 screws here, and I think that's it for this car, except these 2 like little clips that are holding that in. And then on the passenger side you have this handle, so you gotta just pop those out and then do the same thing to this vent. There's nothing holding this, and it is up here. You can see this Velcro should be attached down here. It's not. There's Velcro on a couple places. I think there might be some on the back. Can't really remember, but you know, you'll figure that out. For these ones, the ones with the lights, there is a connection in here. I found it was just easiest to undo that connection. That connection is like hot glued in here. Just undo that, and then it comes out. You kind of have to get the headliner out, like around all this trim. We pop some of this off. It's pretty easy, just how it comes off. And then almost flex it in the center, right here, and then it'll just kind of drop and just hang there. So if you just flex, pull down in the middle, if you have another set of hands, it's helpful. They can kind of guide it out on either side, and then just let it hang down. It'll come down about 6 or 8 inches, and then you can, depending on where you're working, if you're working up here, you can kind of push it out to the back so you have access to that channel there, where that roof rail is going to be. So you'll see a looks like a weld running in along that channel. Try and get your screw holes just in between where they've like spot welded it. It's probably better that you don't drill those out. So once you're at that point, you can drill your holes, and it doesn't have to be dead on accurate. Just drill your holes at the tape marks that you've made, and then you can vacuum out the debris or just blow it out with compressed air. The other thing too is on the underside in here, what you want to do is just make sure there's not a lot of burring where the drill came through, so just clean that up. Usually with just like a blade or anything, you can clean that up pretty quickly. After that, just wipe it down the whole channel with alcohol. If you haven't done the underside of your rail, do that. And then I got a it's called a adhesive sealant and to put in here. So basically what I did, I just started up here, really focused heavily where the 2 weather stripping marks are, because in the past I have had a leak on that corner. So I just filled that up, and then I really focused around each of my screw holes, and then just ran a nice bead through the rest of it. Then basically what you're going to do is put your rail in, and get it how you want it, and then what I did is just put a few pieces of tape over it. This is when I was doing it by myself. I did a few pieces of tape. And on a 4-door car, it's really easy to do yourself, and you can kind of just use the tape to hold it in place. On a 2-door car, getting the first one in back here is really hard to do by yourself, so you really need a second set of hands. So I always started at the back and worked forward, and basically what you do is you start your screw from underneath, and I used an electric screwdriver to go, something that's not going to spin too fast. This is just like it is a pretty soft plastic when you're putting screws into it, so what will end up happening is you'll screw up and in, and if you go too fast, that thread will just come, like the thread you're basically tapping as you're screwing will just come out, and then you've wasted a hole and you're in big trouble. So basically just start it and then tighten it by hand. And it doesn't have to go super tight, like just get it so it's seated nicely and you can't turn anymore, kind of to the point where you feel it almost gonna break free. That's what I did, and then you just continue on pushing down as you're screwing, and then it seats itself very nicely into the channel here. And then one thing I actually forgot to mention is after you drill your holes, paint the inside of it. That's what I did on this one. I just got some cheap like touch-up paint and just painted the inside. That way, if water does get in and sits in there, you're not going to have any rust. So then you can go ahead, after paint dries, then clean it out and put your sealant down. So that's basically what you're going to do. On this end of it, from underneath, what I would do is just put that sealant, or I think I used RTV in a couple cases, and just like put it over the screws. 2 reasons I figured behind that. One, if water does get in, that'll keep it from coming in. And the other thing too is just to keep those screws in place. Then you can go put your headliner back up and let these dry, take all your tape off, and you're good to go.